What's up, y'all? It's Nico with Gaming After Hours, and today we're going to talk about how to solo the 7-star Mewtwo Tera raid in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. This is by far the hardest raid to solo, but with the right build, NPC Party, and RNG luck, it is entirely possible. Having grown up with the first generation of Pokemon, this raid is a major fan service and throwback to Pokemon the First movie and the battle between Mewtwo and Mew. So to all of my OG Pokemon players and Gen 1ers, much love, this one's for you. The Pokemon we will be using to complete this battle is obviously Mew, and there are a few ways to go about obtaining one. I went ahead with the easy route and just used the Get Your Mew code via mystery gift in order to get a level 5 Mew, but you can trade one over from Pokemon Home. I remember you can get one via the Pokeball Plus and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, and I've seen people also use Mew that have been obtained via the Virtual Console. So as long as the Mew you have in your game is able to enter a raid, it's fair game for this one too. Now, if you weren't lucky enough to get a Mew with the Bug Tera Type, go ahead and change its Tera Type to Bug, and then give it a Metronome to hold. The Metronome can be purchased at the Delibird store in Levincia, and it's used in order to maximize the damage output from successive uses of the same move. Also, it goes without saying, but please make sure your Mew is at level 100. As far as moves go, first we are going to want to have Mud Slap because maximally debuffing Mewtwo's accuracy is going to be a pivotal part of this strategy in order to reduce the likelihood that we are hit by any of his attacks. Amnesia we're going to use to buff our special defense since Ice Beam and Aura Sphere are both going to hit our special defense. Bulk Up is going to increase our attack, obviously to maximize the attack of Leech Life, but it's also going to buff our defensive stat since Mewtwo's signature move, Psy Strike, does indeed hit our physical defense. And then finally, Leech Life is going to be used as our primary attack, not only because it will hit Mewtwo for weakness, it'll be boosted by our Tera Type, but it also will serve as a means of healing, as it does restore some HP. And don't forget to PP max Mud Slap and Leech Life. As far as stats and nature go, we want to maximize our attack by using an Adamant mint and by putting 252 EVs into our attack using proteins or muscle feathers. We want to buff our defense by using 210 EVs with irons or resist feathers, and in order to move first, we want to put 48 EVs into speed using Carbos or Swift feathers. Also, don't forget to hyper train since, after all, every IV counts. So that's the build. As you can see, if our Mew defeats Mewtwo in this raid, it will also receive the Mightiest Mark, which is a pretty cool way to commemorate this battle. Alright, the next part of this strategy requires a specific party of NPC raid partners, so let's go over who they are, why they're useful, and how to get them. The first and absolute must raid partner is Bellibolt, since he has access to Discharge, which can paralyze Mewtwo even through his shield, and will decrease the hit rate of Mewtwo's attacks. Next, we need at least one of the following three: Arcanine, Mudsdale, and Weavile, since they have the moves Leer, Rock Smash, and Leer again, all of which will be useful by lowering Mewtwo's defense during the home stretch of the fight. In order to get this raid party, we're going to have to do some soft resetting. So first, find yourself an event raid den and throw down a hard save. Next, you're going to want to load into the rave by selecting challenge as a group, all ready to go, and start raid battle. This will reset the NPCs that will enter our party during the raid, and it will also make sure that we don't have any people joining online. So let's wait to see if we have a party that's good, and we do not. So we're going to want to go ahead and soft reset and keep repeating this process until we have a good raid party. Again, we're going to want to load into the raid with the group, start the raid, see if the party is good, soft reset if not, rinse and repeat, and this could take a while. So let's go ahead and try one more time. Okay, we're going to challenge as a group, all ready to go, start the raid battle. Big money, big money. Let's see who we get. Alright, perfect. We have Bellibolt and Weavile. Someone's paralyzed and a Leerer. Okay, so I went ahead and selected a raid from the map that was a Psychic type so that it would be weak to Mew's Leech Life. This will just make going through the process of defeating the Blissey or whoever you get in your raid faster. So you don't have to do this. It can be any event raid. It can be any Tera type. This is just the fastest way to do it. But the thing to note here is that once we find a good party, we are indeed going to want to successfully complete this raid. I have the speed here going at double the normal speed so that we can get through it quickly, but I do want to show you the extent of the raid just for completeness so that we can see we have successfully completed it, and then we will go into talking about the exact strategy we will use to take down Mewtwo using this specific raid party that we have locked in after this raid. Next, we'll cover the strategy required in battle as a sequence of 4 distinct phases marked by either the removal of debuffs on Mewtwo or buffs on the party. Phase 1 is somewhat the most strict phase as we are attempting to apply buffs and debuffs without getting KO'd and without the option of being able to heal if we need to, since Mewtwo will remove debuffs before turn 12 and we would like to get at least 1 Leech Life in during this period. The idea is to lower Mewtwo's accuracy, boost our defenses, and get off that first attack. Phase 2, which begins when Mewtwo removes debuffs on itself, is less strict than Phase 1 because we are able to use a few Leech Lives here and there to maintain our HP as we move through this phase, debuffing Mewtwo's accuracy and maximizing our attack and defense stats. Ideally, we would like to place all of our Leech Lives at the end and in succession to maximize damage with the Metronome, but there is some freedom here to place a Leech Life when we need it. Now, Phase 2 will end and Phase 3 will begin when Mewtwo removes all buffs on our party, and Phase 3 is similar to Phase 2 in that we can use Leech Life between buffs, but again, ideally we would like to place them all at the end to maximize damage output, though this is contingent of course on RNG and might not be possible. The final phase begins when Mewtwo removes all debuffs on itself and uses Rest along with his Chesto Berry to fully recover his HP and wake up after his shield is broken. Phase 4 is tricky because Mewtwo will now have 2 attacks each round, so we are immediately going to want to completely lower Mewtwo's accuracy, go for that final all-out cheer, and then use Leech Life to do the remaining damage and hopefully win this raid. Now, during this phase, we are going to hope that our companion with Leer is using Leer in order to decrease Mewtwo's defense, and again, this strategy, and especially in Phase 4, is highly contingent on RNG, so hopefully Mewtwo is not landing his attacks. Also, in order for this strategy to be maximally effective, we are going to hope that Belly Bolt is able to paralyze while using a discharge at the beginning of Phase 1, at the beginning of Phase 2, and at the beginning of Phase 4, each time Mewtwo removes all of the debuffs from himself. And with the strategy covered, let's go ahead and find our raid den and start this battle. Okay, so here we are. Let's go ahead and select challenge alone. Do not select challenge as a group and go in using that option because that will reset your party. Once we hit challenge alone, we will be in with the same party and ready to take down Mewtwo. Alright, let's start the battle. You can go ahead and follow along by looking at the phase rundown on the left side for each phase. Mewtwo will begin the battle in the same way every time. He will start by using Calm Mind, and then he will put up his shield. We're going to go ahead and use Mud Slap for turn 1 and hope that he does not attack us, and he didn't. He used Calm Mind there, which is good and bad, of course. We'll use another Mud Slap, but we're really hoping that Belly Bolt will use Discharge and get the paralysis off. That way we don't get hit by an Ice Beam like we just did. Okay, our third Mud Slap. Belly Bolt did not get the paralysis. We're getting hit by our second Ice Beam. It's not looking so good. Alright, we're moving into Amnesia. Boost our special defense. Okay, Ice Beam did not hit that time, and it does look like Belly Bolt did get off the discharge with the paralysis. And we are starting to see that Mewtwo is not able to hit us as effectively as he could before. We're going to continue to buff ourselves. There we go. Mewtwo is paralyzed. Hopefully we see that a lot throughout this fight. Mewtwo is using Aura Sphere, which does always hit, so you always want to make sure that you have enough HP to survive this attack. Paralysis will last through the end of the phase, and it looks like it is serving us well, as Mewtwo is not getting off very many attacks, since we probably wouldn't be able to survive very many more. Alright, our final bulk up. Alright, Mewtwo did get off that Ice Beam, which is not so great, but it looks like we were able to survive it. And here we go into our Terastallization and using Leech Life. And this should heal us a significant amount. Alright, that looks good. And Mewtwo does get an attack after that, so it was nice that he was paralyzed. Anomalously, we were able to get a second Leech Life off before he reset his debuffs. I have tried to do this fight for many hours, and I have only ever seen that happen once. And now that we are in phase 2, we are going to continue to try to debuff his accuracy by using Mud Slap as many times in a row as we can. If Mewtwo does get a hit off like this with Psy Strike, note how much HP it takes off of our Mew, and think about how many times you can be hit without dying. For example, it does about 200 HP here, so we're going to want to use a Leech Life in order to make sure that we can survive at least one more Psy Strike in the event that it does hit us again. And we see that it did not hit us because Mud Slap is doing its job, but we do want to continue to use Mud Slap, prioritize that after Leech Life to heal us up until his accuracy is at a minimum. Again, Aura Sphere always hits. We are going to continue using Mud Slap. Psy Strike did not hit, thankfully. And now we are going to bulk up. Hopefully we don't get hit after this. Okay, we didn't. We can go for the all-out cheer now, which is going to maximize our attack here. And now we are going to continue to use Leech Life until the end of the phase when all of our party buffs are removed. Now, we've been sort of unlucky since Bellibolt has not been able to get paralysis with discharge, and we are already well through phase 2. The paralysis will last through phase 3 since he removes our buffs at that point, at the transition between phase 2 and phase 3. So now we're going to try to increase our buffs back to maximum while avoiding his shots. Hopefully Bellibolt gets off that paralysis at some point, but it does look like he's still missing his attack since Mewtwo's accuracy still is minimized. He only removed buffs from the party. He still has all of his debuffs. And again, we're just going to continue to pump out those buffing attacks while using Leech Life in between if we have to, in order to make sure that we are able to survive any of his attacks as we go along. Again, there's that Aura Sphere, it always hits. Bellibolt, for whatever reason, continues to wish to use Mud Shot. Alright, we're almost done with our bulk ups here. We're going to do 4 in a row. Sometimes Mewtwo can psych you out by moving like that, but he doesn't actually hit. So, we got that all-out cheer off. Alright, here we go. We're going to Leech Life now until he removes all of our debuffs. Hopefully we can break his shield. Every time he uses Ice Beam, I hold my breath because if he freezes you, it's game over unless for whatever reason you're able to thaw yourself out on the first turn after that. I've never seen it happen, at least not in this raid. Right, there's another Leech Life. It looks like his shield is almost broken. Okay, there we go. We broke his shield, and somehow Bellibolt did not get off a paralysis, and we were still able to survive, so that is very, very lucky. We're entering phase 4 now that he has removed all debuffs on himself, rested up to full health, and then woken up using the Chesto Berry. So again, here we want to continue to use Mud Slap because he does get 2 attacks every turn. So we are going to need even more RNG luck in this final phase to come out successfully in this raid. Hopefully Weavile will start using Leer. There we go, we see Weavile using Leer once. Bellibolt's using Mud Shot. Ideally he would get off the paralysis. I hold my breath every turn. There's one hit. Okay, we missed the second one. Sometimes 2 consecutive hits can take you out. Sometimes it can't. It depends on what he uses. Okay, thank God. Mewtwo is not doing very well. He is continuing to use Calm Mind, which is great for us because he's already at max buffs. Just a wasted turn for him. Still got a long way to go, but we have plenty of time. Alright, now we're starting the Leech Life phase. We were able to get all Mud Slaps off without having to heal in between. Uh-oh. Also, any critical hit can take you out as well. We have been extremely lucky this fight since Bellybolt only landed a Paralysis Discharge in that first phase. That Metronome's kicking in, making every successive attack with Leech Life stronger. Alright, one more. Mewtwo will nullify all our stat changes right at the very end. Hopefully we have enough to defeat him. Hey, and somehow we were able to finally pull off the solo strategy. Wow. Alright, let me just tell you. It looks easy. It is not easy. It takes so much RNG. I have been at this for so many hours. Honestly, I would just recommend you go find some people to play with on Game FAQs, Discord, Reddit, wherever you find people to play with. It will be significantly easier, but if you want to be able to make a video and say that you have completed the Mewtwo raid solo, well, now you have a method to do that. And that about wraps it up. So what do you guys think of this raid? What do you think of the strategy? Comment down below. Tell me everything. Tell me what you like, what you hate. Did you do it by yourself? Did you do it with some friends? Make sure to save your game, of course. I always do that after a tough raid like this. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Smash that bell for notifications. And I will see you next time here on Gaming After Hours.